Kadosh Boker or Bekiim Halacha 5, day 18, Siman Lamed Bet, Halacha Tzadi Aleph 91. Imrach Hashav Libo Shekotav L'Shem Kedushat Tefillin. What happens if a person only thought in his mind L'Shem Kedushat Tefillin, V'lo Tzekiem Etzfatav, but he didn't actually say it? So he says over here, Psula Ktivato Af B'diavad. It's going to be pasul even B'diavad. So to minute Machshava Hirhur Lav Kedibur Dami. So to minute it's nothing. It's going to be pasul even B'diavad. Ulgabe Azkarot. And we're talking about the Azkarot. That he only thought that he's writing L'Shem Kedushat, but again, if he did say that he's writing L'Shem Kedushat Tefillin, then he could be mekel. That means even though he didn't say it about the Shem Hashem, the fact that he did say it about Shem Kedushat Tefillin, again, you've got what to rely on. But if he didn't do it even b'machshava, even though he knows that he's writing Shem Hashem, pasul afilu b'diavad. זה פסול אפילו בדיעבד אף שאמר בתחילת הכתיבה שכתב לשם קדושת תפילין. Look at 75. The Nitivot HaChaim said to Rav Meir Mazuz, relating that a scribe once wrote a number of mezuzah scrolls without sanctifying the name of Hashem, then he sold it, right? And then they put it on the doorpost. When the error was discovered, someone asked Yishol Netzion what to do, and he answered that since the mitzvah of mezuzah scrolls cannot be repaired, we may consider them kosher as long as the scribe was aware that he was writing Shem Hashem. Yalkut Yosef counted that this cannot be an inaccurate account, since it's impossible to rule the scrolls are kosher if the scribe did not actually sanctify the name of Hashem. The author of the Halakha asked his father whether the story was authentic, and then Yishol Netzion replied that it is unthinkable to rule that such mezuzah scrolls are kosher. So the Vadayish is a lo kasher. How could it be? It doesn't make sense, right? So obviously that's what's going on over here. Tzadik Bet, he comes and he says, Mi Shamar, he comes and he says this, Mi Shamar betchilat haktiva shet kol ha'askarot kotev l'shem kedushat Hashem. You know that some people, they do that in the morning. It's brought down from the Afike Yam, I think it is. Right? That in the morning, mamash al boker, they come and they say like a whole tefillah. Kol pam shani azkir et Shem Hashem, ani choshev, im ze kiktivato, ze yud kevav kev, hayava over v'yev, im ze you keep on thinking these things. So can you do that for this as well? Imagine you're a sofer. Instead of coming every single time l'shem kedushat Shem Hashem, you just come and say, Kol hashemot shani kotev l'shem Hashem, and that's it. So he says, ולאחר מכן, כשהגיע לכתיבת האזכרות ששכח לקדש שם השם, אפילו במחשבה, בדיעבד יש להקל בזה. Here, בדיעבד you could be מקל, וכל שכן if it's going to be מסופק, if you did do one of the האזכרות שיש להקל בזה, right, ומקום מקום, ודאי לכתחילה יש קדש השם כל כתיבת כל אחד ואחת. That means לכתחילה, do it on every single one. It's not enough just to do it, one by one. Look in the footnote 76, the Turei Zahav, right? He says it was like this. He was like this. Right, the Turei Zahav ruled that a scribe must add to his original declaration that he intends to write the names of God for the sake of their sanctity, explaining that in this way, even if he forgets to declare it, the intention later when writing the name, it will be kosher because of the original declaration. Several Achronim Dor Letzion ruled that we must not rely upon the leniency of the Taz, despite their reservations, because again, he just said, do it from the beginning, v'gamarnu. He said, despite the reservations, the newly published manuscript of the Sefer HaEshkol specifically recommends the same strategy as the Taz, and ruled that once the scribe declared this general sanctification of all the names, then it's going to be kosher even if he forgot to do one. So based on this, the Yishol Netzion ruled that we could rely upon the leniency, because it's not only a Taz, it's a Sefer HaEshkol. The Bekiim Halacha and the Or Letzion agreed that if the scribe does not remember whether or not he sanctified one of the names, but he declared a general specification of the names before he began, we have a stronger basis for leniency. Maybe you did remember to do it, and if he didn't, so then you have the Taz. Okay, fine. Next halacha, Sadi Gimel. בתחילת כתיבת 4 פרשיות יאמר שכתב לשם קדושת תפילין. ושוב אין צורך לומר כן, שוב קודם כתיבת שאר 3 הפרשיות. Meaning, you're going to write all 4 together. Right? בוא נגיד אתה כותב כל 4 פרשיות בבת אחת. So, you're going to come and say at the beginning, לשם קדושת תפילין. You don't have to say it again before every single parasha. ואפילו אם הפסיק כמה ימים בין פרשה לפרשה, even if you made a הפסק between a few days. אבל אם סיים כתיבת פרשיות של תפילין של יד. But if you did stop after the תפילין של יד, and now you're going to start תפילין של ראש, you have to say it again, right? Even if you don't do hefsek, even if it's going to be the same zug of tefillin. Halacha Sadi Dalet, gam tikun haotiyot hanifradot, also the tikun of otiyot. So, for example, sheba lechaber yoda aleph to the gag, or all these things. Sarich ketiva lishma hoelu b'lo tikunu tefillin psulim. Because if you didn't fix it, it's going to be pasul. She'en alem tzurat otiyot karaoi. אולם אם הפריד שתי אותיות שנדבקו כשלא נשתנה צורתם, ולא אמר קדושת תפילין, you could be מקל בדיעבד, the גררה is not called כתיבה. Meaning the fact that you erase something, doesn't mean that you separated it, you scratched it out. It's not called ketibah, so therefore it's going to be okay. Ulinyan tagin, even though lechatchila you have to do a lishma, mikol makom b'diavad is not me'akev. Kevan shekam elan kasovrim that the tagim are not going to be me'akev b'diavad. Look at number 77. Yeah, number 77 says like this. The response to Shevet Levi. He ruled that if the scribe had in mind to repair the letter for the sake of the sanctity of the tefillin, but he failed to verbalize his intentions, the scroll is still kosher, since the basic shape of the letter was already there. In contrast, if he writes the scroll having in mind for it to be kosher for the sake of the tefillin, without it, it's not kosher, because that's writing the entire thing. That doesn't work. To support his ruling, he cites the Ba'echayeh, brought down in the Me'asef Lechol HaMachanot, that if the ink on a scroll is faded and the scribe wishes to write over those letters with fresh black ink, he does not need to repeat the intentions L'Shem Kiddushat of the tefillin or whatever that it is. He says, but if somebody made a correction without the necessary intentions and does not remember the exact place, Yalkut Yosef cited a handwritten response by the Rishon LeZion, right, about a scribe who was unaware of the halacha that he must declare the Shem Kiddushat tefillin when making corrections, and he made a number of the corrections in the Torah without, or let's say Sefer Torah, and he didn't do it. So the Rishon LeZion ruled that now the damage has already been done. So now we're going to say that it's still kosher and people could continue making berachot. This is because the scribe definitely intended to correct the Torah scroll, that it should be kosher. And there are poskim that rule that as long as that his correct intentions in mind, it's still going to be kosher even though he didn't verbalize it. So the Shulchan Aruch ruled that if a scribe does not verbalize the intentions, it's not kosher. Nevertheless, since the Rambam ruled that it's permissible to make a bracha even on a Sefer Torah which is not kosher, so therefore we can rely upon that. If the scribe would be able to identify exactly where he made the corrections, so then erase it and then do it again. And obviously you're going to do it with the proper correction. You're saying the proper L'Shem Kiddushat Sefer Torah, right? But again, since he can't remember it, so therefore it's going to be okay. At any rate, that Rishon LeZion rule leniently only regarding to the Sefer Torah, because again, the Rambam says you can make a bracha on it. But if you would do that for tefillin, so then it's not going to be kosher, because again, obviously it's not going to help, and therefore you have a problem. This is going to be to do with the tefillin.